Today we're going to do goal setting 101. Actually, we're going to do, that's kind of an academic joke. We're going to do keys to success number 101, and it's going to be goal setting, on goal setting. Dr. Martin Rutherford, functional medicine practitioner, chiropractor.
Dr. Randall Gates, board certified chiropractic neurologist, also a chiropractor.
So what we're doing now is we're continuing to go back through many of the keys to success that we've already done, but we're trying to put together a compendium of some of the ones we found to be more useful as the person is even starting the program and walking through. And we always are trying to have in the back of our head, what kind of content can we make available to the patients so that it can help them to stay better once they're done. So goal setting, I don't think anybody who's been around for the last 40 years hasn't heard somebody talk about goal setting. And this is a program that requires some initiative and some willpower and some desire on the part of the person. And I know myself, I find that I'm not the hugest goal setter. I kind of set general goals, but I definitely have little goals that each day I kind of check that I kind of pay attention to and go, oop, I went up today, down today, up today, down today, or something like that. Really helps me. I think different people have different ways of staying focused and motivated. This is definitely one of them for a significant portion of the people. So goal setting.
And relative to goal setting, what we've seen in the past is that it can be semi-dangerous for our chronic illness patients, just because you have been through the onslaught of medical treatments, alternative medical treatments. You come to us, you're not better, and then you want to be better in a month. And sometimes that's just not realistic. And lots of times these goals and this goal setting behavior is part and parcel with expectations of how it should be. And you have to realize that you have an autoimmune problem. Many of you have chronic neurological issues. They're just not going to correct for the most part in a month. The patients that we're treating now are vastly more complicated than the patients we were treating 5 years ago. 5 years ago, everybody just brushed gluten to the side and gave it no credence. And now everybody has come in, they've tried the paleo diet, for example. So if any of these diets were going to work for people and people are going to have a miraculous change, usually they've already tried it.
Yeah, and if it worked, they wouldn't be here.
Exactly. So most of you have tried it, it didn't work. So you have a more complicated issue that's not just going to correct because now you're changing your diet again. That's what you have to realize. And there are going to be ups and downs. We have a whole nother key to success on that. So we actually don't encourage goal setting for the most part in terms of, I want to be better at 3 months, because there can be ups and downs, and that may sabotage really your progress overall when you can be better. Because some of our more complicated chronic fatigue patients, for example, lots of times take 4 to 5 months before the case completely cracks, because there's so many different things that are wrong in their physiology that you have to get them all shored up before they can start to really, really feel better. So that's kind of our take. You can, like Dr. Rutherford said, he sets goals on a daily basis.
But I'm more in the maintenance phase too.
That's also
I wanted to clarify that I'm like, my goals are like to feel good that day. That's it. And if I'm not, this isn't the maintenance phase. Okay, Dr. Gates, and I actually didn't realize this before we started, was emphasizing the getting better phase, which is very difficult to set goals for, because your physiology can change from one day to the next, and you may not feel good, but it may actually be a good thing. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's kind of how you have to negotiate your way through these complex vicious cycles that Dr. Gates works with. But for the maintenance patients, for me, my goal is pretty simple. Stay around my weight and feel good. And they tend to go together for me, because if I eat something wrong, like gluten or something like that, because I didn't know it was in a dish because I was at a restaurant or something like that, I'll put on 3 or 4 pounds overnight. Well, and if I have that and brain fog, I'll know, oh, okay, what happened? Where did that come from? Or something like that. Or my goal will be, if I'm in here and I'm a little tired than usual, but I've had a good night's sleep, then I'll look around and say, okay, did I eat something? Is my blood sugar down? I've had several brain concussions, so I'll say, did I do my exercises this morning? That's as close as I get to goals, but it does keep me on track. But that's once you're done. And that's once you're through the initial program. I agree with the setting specific goals of I'm going to have this much weight. If you had that much control over losing your weight or getting some sort of a success, you wouldn't be here, because it's really not you. Those people can't lose weight. It's usually thyroid, blood sugar, stress hormones, gut, things you have no control over. So yeah, so really, I agree with you in that getting better phase. Setting goals is probably a recipe for disappointment and becoming frustrated and getting on Facebook and saying, "Oh, I didn't have a good week," and things of that nature.
Exactly.
So
the worst week ever.
Yeah, the worst week ever. Yeah. So.
And I like what you're saying too, because setting goals on, like Dr. Rutherford says, keep it simple. Setting goals on, are you following your diet? That's a really good goal to set on a daily basis. And are you doing the right things? And maybe another goal is to look at things in a positive fashion. So if you are having a bad week, this may sound crazy, but look at it from the perspective, okay, so we're getting information as to what is making me not feel as well. And I've had the fortunate pleasure of learning this from a lot of these, world's strongest people I train with and world-class power lifters, because that's how they look at their training. They have ups and downs. When they have a bad day, they say, okay, well, this is what caused it. And they look at it in a positive fashion than getting down on themselves. Most of you have been conditioned for health PTSD. So you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're always waiting for something to go wrong, because that's been the pattern you've learned throughout this entire process where you've been sick for 2 years or 20 years. So trying to change your psychology to look at the positive and how we're gleaning information from when you have a bad day or when you have a bad week. There's always a reason, and we'll usually figure it out. So
true.
That's our take on goal setting.
Okay.
We'll be back for number 102 next week.